Good morning, fellow gardeners. Good morning to those that are just curious about our show. This is Garden America. Welcome. Hope you had a good week. We are heading into the weekend. First off, I want to thank you for spending part of your weekend with us. I'm Brian Main. Tiger Palafox is with me, of course. John Bagnasco, though, he's in Europe. He's actually in Belgium, Tiger. And after our guest today, perhaps we can get a hold of John, who's across the pond, way across the pond in Belgium, and talk to him.
Yeah, that'd be really neat, huh? I wonder, it's always so weird when someone is so far away and then you talk to them and it just seems so
seems
close.
like they're next door.
You know, it's just like, hey, how's the weather there? Oh, it's
Right.
sunny, there's that.
You know, in the old days, you called long distance, there was always a hiss.
Oh, yeah?
You knew that you were talking to somebody a long way away.
Really?
It
just sounded far.
Even if you were to call, like, say, San Diego to San Francisco back in the day, you heard that hiss. You heard the connection maybe wasn't perfect, but you knew it was a long way off. And what you're saying is it could be next door.
Yeah.
That's how far we've come. Just call somebody's cell phone. Doesn't matter where they are.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking to John and find out what he's up to in Belgium.
Right? That's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. I'm excited to chat with him a little bit.
I do want to shout out to our sponsors, Fertilome and, of course, Mosquito Dunk. If you're a watcher or a listener of our show, please support these products and these businesses, as we do investigate them before we bring them on the air to make sure they're a good product, so on and so forth. Mosquito Dunk and, of course, Fertilome. We have a new sponsor, a new product today, Tiger. We're going to be talking to Taunya about what's in front of us here. What's in front of you if you're watching us on Facebook Live? Somebody already said on Facebook, looks like an interesting product. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so this is the Root Warrior. It's a device that helps you bring more oxygen into the root system of plants, which is going to prevent things like overwatering, poor production, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to get into more with Taunya later on.
Right.
Don't want to share too much, but it is a really good product. And it's funny, we talk about a lot of situations in gardening where we can't control the environment. And this is one way to combat that. And I'll get into more of that later because I think this is going to help a lot of people where they're like, oh, I've always planted plants here or I've always planted this plant. It just hasn't worked out. I think this is going to be
this might be the answer
solving those problems.
Now, we're talking about potted plants?
All plants.
All plants?
All plants.
Okay, so it lets it, I guess, aerates it, lets air get through their oxygen, so on and so forth?
Exactly. I mean, we all know one of my favorite stories of, the roses is the, and now it just forgets my.
Did you lose the train of thought there?
The rose
what are you
that
taking
was
John's
underwater
place
in
today?
New Orleans, man.
You're talking about the rose?
The Peggy Martin rose.
Peggy Martin rose,
okay.
right. It was underwater for a long time.
It was underwater. And people can say, oh, well, I overwater my plants. How do I overwater my plants and then this plant survives underwater for that period of time, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because the water that was surrounding the rose was oxygenated water, meaning it was turned up, it was moving, it wasn't stagnant, still water, right? And because of that oxygenation, and we talked about this in your fish tanks, because that water is oxygenated, plants that might get overwatered out in the real world can survive in that situation because of the oxygen levels in the water. And
I do have a lot of live plants.
Yeah.
Some people have fake plants in their aquarium, which is fine. I like the live plants. It helps with the water, helps with the health of the fish, and like you said, the oxygen that flows through there, I should say, and the constant movement of the water.
Right. And so, that's the only way, because if you didn't have oxygen in your fish tank, obviously your fish would die. But the plants would die as well.
Exactly. So in a roundabout way, that's what we'll be talking about today with Taunya from Root Warrior. And again, we do appreciate our sponsors, Fertilome, Mosquito Dunks, and the new sponsor, of course, Root Warrior.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking to John later on. You had a busy week, obviously, as you always do. And
we're having a weird – so you mentioned something that was fascinating for San Diego is that we have not had a sunny day. So every day
constant sunshine.
Yeah, every day has been cloudy at least for more than half of the day
since February. Right.
Since February.
Yeah.
Not one day in March, not one day in April, not one day in May.
It's got to be almost a record, I think.
Right?
There's been a few days I've come home and it did clear up.
Yeah.
So I opened the front door, opened the patio, get the fountain going, so on and so forth. But they've been very few and far between in terms of those days where you come home, it's still cold. It's rainy. We rained this morning a little bit.
Exactly. And, it's funny. my mom was on the news this week because they were talking about how late the jacaranda blooms are right now in San Diego. And, jacarandas are the purple flowering tree that we have a lot of in San Diego. And there's a lot of communities that have them lining their streets. They're in all of our parks. And when they start to bloom, it's this huge impact all around the city. And they're just now blooming, which normally, like we're saying, they're usually blooming in May.
Yeah, they're about a month late.
And it's because it's been cloudy. It hasn't been super warm. And that drizzle kind of also slows it down a little bit as well. So you take those three factors in, and we're pushing out bloom production. Now, the biggest thing is think about our food also. If that's happening to a tree, think about what that's doing to the tomato farmers. Think about what that's doing to the strawberry growers, just all the food producers. They're a month behind. They might be, a little bit less production this year, So it's a big deal when the weather shifts and changes.
We'd like to say, and normally we do, we operate on the calendar. Okay, it's this month, which means we do this or that, A, B, C. Now it's a new month. We should be seeing this. But plants operate, for the most part, like you just mentioned, Tiger, on the weather.
Right.
Yes, it's supposed to be sunny and warmer this time of the year in various places, but it's not. And so, like you just said about the jacarandas, they're like, okay, I can't push any production yet because it's not warm enough.
Yeah.
It's not cold enough. It's not hot enough, whatever the case may be.
I bet you the Farmer's Almanac guessed it, though.
The book that John doesn't believe in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that John? That's John texting us,
that's
isn't
John.
it?
He can't leave us alone right now. But yeah, I bet you the Farmer's Almanac predicted this.
Said we're not surprised by this at all.
We printed this 4 years ago.
Let's see here. So obviously, questions and comments for those on Facebook Live during the show, during our guest, and those on Biz Talk Radio. Thank you for supporting our show. By the way, if you do want to watch us live and be part of the show, interact, go to our Facebook page, Garden America Radio Show. Every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock on the West Coast, 11 o'clock Eastern Time Zone. You can watch us, you can interact, ask questions, so on and so forth. But in the meantime, if you're just listening to us on Biz Talk Radio, thank you very much for your support.
Yeah, I know. And it's always fun to hear about our Biz Talk listeners because the network doesn't always play this program on Saturday morning.
Right.
Some people are listening to us on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon. So, if you're one of those listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to our Facebook, ask a question, go to our website.
Yeah, let us know.
Submit a question. Go to our website and submit some of the things that are happening in your garden. We would love to hear what's happening in your yard at this moment in time. We've got listeners from Pakistan, from Florida, from New York.
And places
Canada.
We're not even aware of.
Yeah, Spain, Australia. So please, we love to
reach
hear
out
from
to
you. We love to hear from you, and we love to share. In the newsletter, we post pictures of what's happening in people's yards, what's blooming, all kinds of fun stuff. So please share that with us.
Right. You can send those pictures to John at gardenamerica.com. Our website, of course, is gardenamerica.com. Gardenamerica.com, very simple. It's a great website. It changes periodically. Our webmaster, Daniel, does a great job. So reach out and do visit our website, and you can hear us on so many platforms, Spotify, Google, Alexa. I've run out of the places to mention because we're just about everywhere. Our podcasting, Biz Talk Radio, we're everywhere. Everywhere you turn, it's Garden America.
Yeah, but we're here to help you all be successful in gardening. And today, when we're talking about Root Warrior with Taunya, it's just one more thing that maybe you weren't going to be successful. This is something that's going to help you be successful.
And Daniel's being funny. What's the website? It's gardenamerica.com. Oh, I know. Wait a second. Let's go back about 15, 20 years. www.gardenamerica.com. You don't need the W's, folks. We know that.
And it's amazing nowadays. I mean, you almost don't even have to say a website anymore because people just go, "Oh, Garden America," or
and they type it in.
Whatever it is that you're looking into. They just type it in, and then that comes up. Isn't it annoying when it doesn't?
Yeah.
When you type in something,
it's like, where is this?
Like,
or it takes you someplace else.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted.
Yes.
Don't assume I wanted this because I didn't. Now, for those of you also listening on Biz Talk Radio, this afternoon, usually early afternoon on Saturdays, we upload our show on our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. So you can go back, you can watch it, you can fast forward, you can pause. I guess what we're trying to say is
you can see what we're talking about.
You can see. There's no reason not to watch or listen to us.
Yeah.
So again, we're approaching our first break. Do you have the quote of the week?
I do.
Let's hold off till on the other side.
Okay, and I did the newsletter this week.
You did?
I did.
Oh, wait a second. I'm going to look at this with fresh eyes. So we're going to take a break. Once again, John's in Belgium. We'll be talking to him later on in the show. Taunya will be our guest talking about Root Warrior, brand new sponsor, and a product we are really excited about. So do stay with us. We're going to take a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. I'm Brian Main. Tiger Palafox. This is Garden America. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we are back. It is Garden America, of course. It is the weekend. We appreciate you tuning in. I'm Brian Main. Tiger Palafox. Tiger did the newsletter this week, so props to Tiger. Usually that's something John does and has been doing for a long time. So good job, Tiger. So the newsletter will get the quote of the week and then bring on Taunya and talk about that great product, Root Warrior.
Yeah, I thought this quote of the week was going to be fitting for at least us in Southern California right now who are suffering some June gloom. Of course, fresh flowers are the answer to any June gloom you may be feeling. Flowers really do solve all problems. And that was from a writer, Mia Moretti. And I think you're right. I mean, if you walk into a room or into a garden and you just see flowers, it could be the cloudiest day.
Right, but it brightens up your spirits.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And someone else who brightens up our spirits, joining us this morning, Taunya Miller with Root Warrior. Good morning, Taunya. How are you?
Well, good morning. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Yeah. No. Now, Taunya, you were up in the Oregon area?
I'm actually in the eastern Oregon area, so we're closer to the Idaho border than we are the coast.
Yeah.
So more of the mountain region.
And when I was talking to you, you were actually suffering a rainstorm, I think it was last time. How's the weather now?
Well, actually, we're slightly cleared up, but we did go through quite a downpour, kind of experiencing the same thing you are. It's everything's a little bit late here, but we do have sunny skies today, which I'm thankful for.
Oh, that's better than us down here. It's still cloudy and drizzly, so it's funny how things are kind of shifting around right now. Taunya,
Very bad. Mm-hmm.
Now tell us a little bit about your background, not necessarily with Root Warrior, but kind of where you were coming from with this product. It's kind of new for you.
Actually, I started this because I was raised in a farm country in the mountain area, the Rocky Mountains, and we moved into the Portland, Oregon area. And I started my gardens on decks and very small spaces. And everything was not successful. It was dying. So for about 3 to 4 years, I started to research to find out why my pots and my raised beds just weren't successful. When I was in the Rocky Mountain area, I could put something in the ground or in a container and everything. It was a very little effort. So I decided to look right into the pot, and I found over a few years that the center of my pot was either waterlogged, and the waterlogged and the overwatering was holding in certain bacteria. So I started doing research and my own prototypes. And within a couple of years, I came up with the design and engineered the Root Warrior. And after a few, maybe 2 years, I decided to design a product. And this is the first year that I've introduced it for the home gardener. I've been working with growers, and they've been quite pleased, but I wanted to offer something to the home gardener who already had their own pots and their own raised beds, so they could actually get rid of all of that overwatered and waterlogged soil and have their plants grow better.
Yeah, and it's funny because being here in San Diego, I deal with this all the time where people say I don't overwater my plants. I don't, and it's very hot, and so it's hard to think that people overwater their plants because they're putting too much water on them. And I say, well, overwatering isn't the best term for what you're doing. It's more either lack of drainage or hard compacted soil. So yeah, you're only watering your plants maybe once a week, but that is overwatering in the sense that the water's not going away. The Root Warrior eliminates that aspect because you're going to have drainage, you're going to have airflow in the root system, that even if you are an overwaterer, even if you have poor draining soil, it solves that problem, right?
Yes, it does. And actually, you bring up a very good point. And it also would help balance the water and the oxygen. So it brings a perfect, what they call field capacity. Like if you were doing an in-ground garden, the water will eventually just absorb, and then the excess water will roll away. But if you're in a pot, even if you don't overwater and you think you're watering correctly, the field capacity or the water and the oxygen balance can just not be quite right. And then we also angled the Root Warrior so the soil compaction would not be as much in the pot as well, or the raised bed. So that stops the soil from being waterlogged at the bottom, and it helps the flow of the water, or balances the oxygen in the water as well.
Hey, Taunya, let me ask you a quick question as I jump in here, Tiger. So you developed this product. When do you recall the aha moment when you started to grow something or saw a big change in something and you said to yourself, we've got it, this works, this is fantastic? When was that, and what was the situation?
I'd say that happened about the third or fourth year, and I will give the credit to my mother. She was visiting. She came from the Rocky Mountain, and she said, everything is blooming, everything is growing, your vegetables, your basil plants. And she said, why can't I have this when I go home, and family and friends? So I do have some engineers in the family that help me research and design and come up with everything, with the angles and the slats. So the aha moment was when all of the family and friends and colleagues that were doing testing, and they said, well, when can we get one? So I decided to create it. And I had full support with the family, and I thought, I'm going to go for it. That's
got to be very, very satisfying. And then a chance for you to share this with us this morning and our listeners and our viewers, because I know a lot of people that, we may or may not know what we're doing, but we always need help in the garden. And sometimes it's a product like this that changes everything.
Yeah. And, Taunya, I mean, when it comes to plants, I think probably the number one thing that people either get wrong or get right or don't know about is watering. And any way that you can ensure you're going to be successful by watering your plant, and you just eliminate the factor of guesswork in the sense of overwatering or underwatering, or if you're using the right soil, this is one tool. And whether you're an experienced gardener or a novice gardener, is going to help you be successful every time, because it eliminates so many factors that are just a big question. Even us as experienced gardeners run into this situation where, I've got this plant, I've got it in a pot. Am I watering it too much? Am I not watering it enough? It's kind of critical. I don't know what I need to do. And so the Root Warrior just takes that guesswork, and it allows you to make mistakes,
right?
But the plants aren't going to be affected as much by it, because there's already the drainage, there's already the oxygen flow, there's already the capture of water as well. So it just helps you be successful. Hey, Taunya, we are going to have to take a quick little pause right now for commercial break. When we get back, I want you to be able to describe to our listeners and viewers a little bit about how they would use this product. You got a couple different sizes, and I want you to be able to kind of describe how they would be able to use this product when we get back from our break.
Absolutely. And again, Tiger's addressing a question that Veronica has for us on Facebook Live. How do you use it? Anybody else questions or comments for Taunya, myself, Tiger? Let us know right there on the comment section on our Facebook page as we continue live. I'm Brian Main. Tiger Palafox, this is Garden America as we take a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. And just like that, those on Facebook Live, we are back. Of course, those on Biz Talk Radio, we are back, but you had a bit longer break. So if you are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for supporting our sponsors, Mosquito Dunk and, of course, Fertilome, great sponsors to the show. And a brand new sponsor today on Garden America is Root Warrior with Taunya. And we're going to continue to educate people, Tiger, as we have questions, comments on this fantastic product. So go ahead. I guess we want to find out or ask how it works. How do you use it?
Yeah, exactly. So joining us this morning is Taunya Miller with Root Warrior. And Taunya, before the break, I had asked you to be prepared to describe to people how this product works. So can you please let us know how you suggest using Root Warrior?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'll start with pots, planters, and any container that you could use with the Root Warrior. Okay, we do have three sizes. We have a large that's 8 inches, a medium that's 6 inches high, and then a smaller one that's 4 inches. So all of them would use the same overview, if you want to call it that. So you would place it inside your container or your grow bag. And with the container, you would preferably like a drainage hole. And then you would just fill the dirt or the soil up to about 2 to 3 inches above the Root Warrior. And then you just plant as normal. So now the pots that you would use are approximately double in height, but you can go a little bit shorter. So, for example, if you have the large Root Warrior, it's 8 inches in height. You can go from like a 14 to a 16 inch, and it would help the plants with the drainage. And you can use all sorts of plants. We use it for vegetables. It's safe for food. It goes great with tomatoes. I have okra going right now. I even have watermelons. I have cantaloupes. I have a ton of tomatoes, cucumbers. I mean, everything I have going right now in the containers. And another tip would be is the Root Warrior does help any type of soil, including the potting soils. But we do recommend that you talk to the garden center on whatever you're planting and get the best garden soil that they recommend to whatever you're doing. The healthier the soil, the more nutrition will go in through the roots and help your plant. And the vegetables taste better too, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, what you just said is a perfect example of why you would be successful in the sense of the healthier the plant, the healthier the soil. The Root Warrior here is going to make you successful because it takes some of that guesswork out. Now, that was a great description of inside of a pot, inside of a grow bag, in some kind of controlled environment where you can place this. It increases drainage. It increases airflow into the root system. It prevents compaction of the soil so the roots can always have somewhere to go. But you can actually use this in the ground too, right?
Yes, you can. If you think about it, the Root Warrior has no idea where it's being placed. So if you put it
Not
in the
yet.
ground or in your raised bed, and then again follow the same guidelines of from 3 to 4 inches of garden soil above it, then the roots will eventually get to where the oxygen cavity is of the Root Warrior. And that brings, again, the balance of the water and the oxygen. But more importantly, sometimes it helps the roots with a natural air pruning. And then the roots can be strong. They're not being waterlogged. They're not being overwatered. And Again, the stronger the roots, the quicker your plant will start to grow, and it's very simple. It's you don't have to have a complex soil recipe.
Yeah.
You can use good garden soil and in grow bags and in the raised beds as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the soil environment, if you have hard clay, hard DG, or just hard compacted soil, and you dig, sometimes when you're planting your tomatoes, when you're planting your peppers, or maybe your tree or shrub, you get concerned because you've dug this hole, but the water isn't going away, or you're worried about the roots being able to kind of have enough strength to break into some of that hard compacted soil around there. You put this in there, you cover it with soil, you put your plant on top of it, and now you're ensuring that there's going to be this nice cavity of air, of soil, of non-soil, so the roots can grow into it. And it just will ensure that the roots have somewhere to go to get started, because sometimes the problem is, Taunya, right? The roots have nowhere to get started. Mm-hmm. They're already sitting in water. And so from day one of you planting this plant, you're going to be unsuccessful. From day one, it's just like a slow death. Well, now with the Root Warrior, you are giving those roots an opportunity to get started before they break into that hard soil, before they have to break into that clay. And hopefully then they'll be stronger, more successful in doing it, right?
That's absolutely correct. Very well said. It's like you say, it's already you're giving it a chance. Yeah. So now you're offering the oxygen and the water balance instead of putting it into a position that the plant's going to struggle.
And now, Taunya, I mean, we talked about the potted plants, grow bags, raised beds in the garden. You and I kind of talked a little bit about a taller pot, because pots don't all come in one size. So somebody might have a more tall, narrow, square pot, or an urn-shaped kind of pot. What do you recommend for people that do have kind of a larger pot? Do they still use the same instructions for the Root Warrior? What do you kind of have for them?
Well, we have kind of a creative solution for that. So you have a large, tall urn or a very tall container, and you'd like to put in a very, beautiful plant that's going to flower. So what we do is we take a PVC pipe, an extension, approximately, say, 2 to 3 inches in width. Put that in the pot first over the drainage hole. So now you've got the air and the oxygen is going to be following up the PVC. Now, put the garden soil in with about 3 to 4 inches up towards the top of your PVC, and then take the large green 8-inch Root Warrior and sit it on top of the PVC. And now put the rest of your garden soil in. Obviously, leave enough room at the top so you have that 3 to 4 inches of garden soil, and plant as normal. So now you're leading the oxygen and the air to come up and still offer a more, instead of the confinement of a container, because you're not in the ground,
yeah, it
still offers the oxygen to move around with the water. So that's been a very good solution.
Yeah, very good solution. And and then the other thing I do want to mention with this is it's reusable. So, I mean, if you put this in your containers, you think, oh, it's gone, I'm not going to get it again. But Taunya, when you dig out a plant, you can leave the Root Warrior in there and then just replant something new. Or if you're going to change things out completely, when you empty out the pot, you just pull this out. This is made of plastic. It's durable. You can then now put it into a new pot or reuse it again over and over and over again, right?
Absolutely. In fact, they last up to 3 to 5 years. We've had some very good success with that. In fact, the ones I've been using are pushing into the 5th year right now. And so I do. It is a good investment. It's not like a purchase at one time and you have to buy a whole set the following year.
Yeah.
And like you said, it can follow the size of pots as you repot up over a few years, or just use it into a new pot. You're right.
It's funny. I should have asked you this before the interview, Taunya, but you mentioned just the years of trial and error that you had. I'm wondering what your first prototypes looked like,
what it
right?
looked like, right?
And then where you ended up today, because I'm sure there was some process of error and elimination that you had to do to get to this design.
Yes, actually. So if I understand your question right, when was maybe repeat that.
What did your first prototype of the Root Warrior look like?
Oh, actually, it was quite creative. The first Root Warrior prototype, is that what you're asking? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, and hey, Taunya,
Okay.
we're actually going to probably take a break right now. So when we get back, we would love to hear the description of your first prototype and what it looked like, because it makes a lot of sense right now. So I'm sure there was some trial and error in getting to this point. All right.
Yeah, and I'll do a better job of holding up the product to the camera. When we come back, people want to see what they look like. Yes, they do come in different sizes. So again, keep those questions coming. It's Tiger, myself. We'll keep up with those questions as we continue with the Taunya Root Warrior, new sponsor, a great product here on Garden America. Do stay with us as we take a break for Biz Talk Radio. Back after these messages. We are back from the break, and those that are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, this is the final segment of hour number 1. You've got news coming up. If you hang in there with us, news coming up top of the hour. We come back for hour 2 at 6 minutes after as we stay on track. For those on Facebook Live, we just kind of keep on rolling along as we're talking about a great product, Root Warrior, with Taunya this morning here on Garden America. So again, any more questions, feel free to post them on the comment section of our Facebook page. The label, the front of the product looks like this, if that's what you were asking, as I give you a little better picture of that on camera. That's what it looks like. Now, this is the smaller one, and, of course, the green ones are the bigger ones. As Taunya mentioned, they last for about 3 to 5 years, so you get a lot of use out of these products, Tiger.
Yeah, and Taunya, thanks for joining us again. And, yeah, like we said before the break, where did this come from? What was the first prototype? Can you describe that to us?
Oh, you bet. Okay, the first prototype that we had was actually what you would, I think somebody referred to it once, it looked like a witch's hat with a child toy, because we had to really perfect the angles and the slots that allowed the oxygen to go back and forth. One person even considered it to be looking like a strainer. But if you'll notice, there's so many different angles that we added to it to improve it. It's quite advanced with our engineering after a few years. Again, if you try to just put anything in the middle of your pot to reduce the water drainage and the bacteria, it just raises the water table. And you need something that will allow everything to flow down in a smooth, natural flow, just like Mother Nature had intended it to do, rather than just perching up the water table or throwing in debris at the bottom. So our first prototypes were rather creative, and I'm rather pleased with this one. I'm sure we are going to be adding more sizes as the years go by, too. But right now, we're introducing these 3 for all, I think, the majority of all pots and raised beds.
Perfect. And it's funny. I was just on the website too, kind of seeing some great videos describing and how to use them as well. So lots of good information at plantwarrior.com, where you can see some videos on how they're being used. You can see some more images about what the product is, and like you said, the different sizes that they have. And also to be able to buy them as well. Now,
and that website is plantwarrior.com.
Yes,
okay.
plantwarrior.com. Now, Taunya, I see on Amazon they sell a package of 6 of these for about $40. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. We actually just barely launched it on Amazon due to some customers' demands.
Okay.
And I'm very pleased to offer it there. So that is us. We are the only ones offering the Root Warrior. It's our exclusive design, and there's actually no other product out there like us. So you'll always get it just from us. Comes out of Eastern Oregon. So Amazon, a couple other websites. It's, whatever you prefer. We do have a couple of garden centers on the East Coast that are offering it, our pilot program this year, and it's going rather well. They're selling out.
Good.
So we're
Great.
very happy to see that the home gardener is finding it and using it in all sorts of situations.
And the link to your website, it was just posted by our webmaster, Daniel. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, you're in there right now. There is the link to check it out. And again, as Tiger and Taunya mentioned, there's how-to videos. We do the best we can to describe it, but there's nothing like watching a video to see from start to finish how to use the product. So that's up there right now on our Facebook page, Tiger.
Yeah, and as Taunya mentioned, very versatile. Use it with your vegetables, your herbs, use it with your flowering plants, use it with trees,
anything
shrubs.
that wants oxygen, which is just about everything.
Yeah,
Right.
the only thing that Taunya and I talked about that maybe people would be like, oh, I don't know if I need to use this with is your succulents, because usually you're kind of using a very low, well-draining soil, sandy soil already. But I mean, even then, I'm sure it doesn't hurt. So,
Right, exactly.
So, what a great product. And like I said, I think the best thing that I see about this product is when it just takes one more question out of your mind when it comes to planting something that you're worried about. You're not going to be worried that you're overwatering this plant. You're not going to be worried about the root system not having a place to go when you use the Root Warrior. So if there is a plant that you are like, oh, this is very important to me, I want to really ensure that I'm going to be successful. We do all of it. We buy the best potting soils. We buy the right container. We buy the right fertilizers. This is just one more step.
Right.
And then also, Taunya, right? I mean, even if you're just the general person who just wants to make sure you're taking the extra care of your plants, this is great for everyone else. And what a great gift to buy for the gardener. Something new and different, right?
No, that's absolutely correct. In fact, we were also talking about people that go through all of the steps to have a successful garden, just what you did. And then they go home and they put in broken pieces of pottery or old Coke, bottles. And so now they have debris on the bottom. Now, I've researched this through the universities. Obviously, I haven't done the soil testing myself, but that also can bring another contaminant into your soil that's just not helping your plants. You went through all this trouble to grow a beautiful lavender plant or your tomato, and now you have, broken pieces of pottery and old, soda bottles on the bottom. And you're right about the water. So if you add a little bit too much water, you know that it's going to flow out and you're not going to get the root rot. And the soil is not going to be holding it. So you can't hurt it. It just takes off one less concern. And if you go on vacation and somebody overwaters your plants, they can't.
Yep.
You come home and your plants are still healthy.
Exactly. Well, Taunya, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Great product, Root Warrior. Go to plantwarrior.com, and that way you just guarantee your plants are going to survive.
Yep. One less step, and you're taking something out of the equation, but also adding something into the equation.
Yes, exactly. Well, Taunya, thanks for joining us again. Enjoy the weather that you have up there. I hope that sunny skies are ahead for you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you, Taunya. We do appreciate it, and thank you for being one of our new sponsors here on Garden America. Root Warrior, and again, the link is right up there on our Facebook page right now in the comment section, so check it out. Now, we got a last-minute question here. I'm not sure. Maybe we can answer it, Tiger. Okay. This is from Veronica. So in the 4x4 raised bed, do you use one per plant or just 4 for the whole bed?
So she was saying, I was talking with Taunya about this earlier too, and if you were to insert just 4 for the whole bed, it would give the roots the ample area to kind of grow into and have those voids. But it might be better to do 1 per plant.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We've got news coming up for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. We're back at 6 minutes after. For the rest of you on Facebook. Hey, I'm going to start a Facebook page. For the rest of you on Facebook, we're going to be coming right back. Do stay with us. Your questions, your comments, more info here on Garden America. It is Garden America. We are back. Thank you for tuning in. If you're tuned in, by the way, in Biz Talk Radio, you're catching us during the second hour. Welcome. If you missed any of our show, you want to watch it back, you can go to our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show, and you can rewatch the entire program. Our podcasting is up. We're Google, we're Spotify, we're Pandora. It is Garden America. No excuse not to listen or watch any shows, past, present, but not future, because it hasn't happened yet. Anyway, we are back. Thank you for joining us here as we are broadcasting live on a Saturday morning, but perhaps you're listening at a different time and space, and that's great, too. We do appreciate it.
Right now we talked about John not being here in studio with us, and he's texting us, and he's saying he's at the Dortmund Rosarium. And so he sent us some pictures, and
is there any way, can you send those?
That's what I was just trying to do. I was going to post them. I could post them on our Facebook, but I can't post them into the chat in our video right now. But I'm going to post them on our Facebook right now.
Okay, and we'll be talking to John hopefully here before too long. Perhaps during the next break, we'll give him a call?
Yes, that sounds great.
Okay, and John will bring us up to date.
What a fun trip, right?
And he's been there for a while, right? At least a week or so? More than a week?
He left?
I think he left this past Sunday.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and so, not quite a week yet. Yeah. So exciting stuff. I'm going to work on this. Do we have any other questions that we need to answer?
Let's see. I think we caught up. Let's see. Very interesting. I think we're good. Karen says this would be great for my plumeria since they're so sensitive to overwatering. As far as root warrior. Yes.
Correct.
Right.
It would be. Exactly. Yeah. Anything that you're really concerned with overwatering with. And again, we say overwatering, but it's not necessarily you watering too often, too much. It's just that the soil holds that moisture. And then we have, we're in a weird situation right now, Brian, where we are that Portland, Oregon area where we just can't dry out. We just can't. Every day that mist comes back in, it resaturates it. It doesn't go away till the afternoon. We just can't dry out. So you're not even overwatering now, but you need that drainage. You need that oxygen flow into the root system.
Another question here, Tiger. How often should I refresh my soil in pots? I have many that have been in pots for a long time. You know what? I share that same thing, too. A lot of pots that I have the same soil. Rule of thumb, it may depend on what plant that you're talking about, Tiger, but as far as refreshing the soil in pots.
So in terms of refreshing the soil, I would say you're looking at about every 3 to 4 years, you should consider doing something. Okay, that something could be as simple as adding a little bit of soil to the top.
Right.
Obviously, you got to be real careful because you can bury your plants and you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That something could be as simple as taking the plant out of the pot and putting some soil in the bottom to kind of raise it up because it will compact with time.
Sure, you'll see it lowering.
So if you have like that V-shaped vase pot, it should be easy to just put it on its side, kind of drag that plant out, the root system and all that's going to kind of come out with it. Put some soil in the bottom, put some new soil around the sides, and then put the plant all back together again. And that's adding some new soil. Now, then that's that. Now, take one step further. About every 10 years, it would be ideal to go in there, really break up that root system, add that new potting soil, because over time, it's getting compacted. That soil's breaking down. It's just losing the ability to hold nutrients, becoming sterile. And so, you need to take that one step further. I mean, so that's my kind of general thoughts on it. Obviously, people go very long, probably more than 10 years without changing soil in pots. And as long as you use an organic fertilizer, I think you'll be okay.
I think you're fine.
But if you use a chemical fertilizer, you probably should be doing things much sooner because you're sterilizing the soil every time you use it.
Right, and you're only feeding the plant, really, aren't you?
Exactly.
You're not really doing anything for the soil necessarily with a chemical fertilizer.
Exactly. So, So, about every couple years, just kind of refresh it, and then about every 10 years if you can completely redo it.
You know, it's that just the mention of that makes me want to go home and double check my pots as well, because it has been a while and most everything I have is in pots. So that's a good question and a good rule of thumb to follow, as Tiger mentioned. Okay, so more questions, more comments on our Facebook page as we continue. We're going to be getting a hold of John, who is in Belgium, and catching up with him. Tiger's going to try to send some of these pictures to our Facebook page outside of the comments section.
Perfect. Yeah, they're on our page now. Cool.
So that said, are you working today?
No, this is me working.
Oh, good.
Today.
This is your job today.
Yeah, after this, I get to go home. I have some work around the house to do.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take the dogs to the beach and give them a bath because they smell.
To the cloudy beach.
Yes, exactly.
You know, it may be sunny in some areas inland, but I can guarantee the beach is going to be cloudy.
Right.
Especially this time of the year, the marine layer.
So funny, the people that come in from out of town and they're like, "Oh, San Diego," and
Sunny.
then they get here and then it's not nice at all.
Yeah, you can see if you're inland a little bit, you look toward the beach, west, you can see the clouds kind of where they start. And so, yeah, I would imagine, though, within a couple of 2 or 3 weeks, a month, it's going to warm up.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be hot right on through October, November.
Exactly.
It's coming. It's coming.
You know,
Things
it's
will
funny,
dry out.
We were talking about this whole El Nino, La Nina thing. And, we were talking about the difference. And this is exactly the difference. I had said El Nino brings it doesn't bring rain, but it brings humidity and cooler weather.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. It's cool.
Right.
And it's cloudy. It's not more rain, but it's cool and cloudy. And so this is that weather pattern that we're in right now because of the oceans and all that kind of fun stuff. But it's really neat to be out in nature, like our hills and our canyons and our preserve areas, to see the difference this year versus it.
Right.
I was up at John's house, up in Fallbrook, Eastern San Diego, Fallbrook, usually hot, usually very dry.
Yeah, very hot and dry.
It still looks very green. I still see flowers out there in the hillsides.
We're into June.
Yeah.
I mean, first
we
week
should
or
be
so.
looking like a tumbleweed right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, things are a bit different this year with all the rain and, again, that heavy moisture still holding on. And I guess the one good aspect is that I'm not watering as much.
Right.
Maybe once a week, and the rest of the week it's, lack of sunshine. Everything stays moist.
Right. And that's the other kind of crazy thing is us just seeing our creeks and our rivers and our lakes just getting more and more full from the runoff that we've had from the rain and the snow. And we're not using it because you're saying we're not watering.
Yeah.
And also it's not evaporating, so we don't have to use it because it's just staying in the ground. It's so funny that just led into like a great little ad for Root Warrior, because during this time of year, during these weird weather patterns, it would just ensure that you weren't overwatering your plants. And the other product,
true. Yeah.
The other product that I really like for that is Fertilome Natural Guard product has humus, which is a soil additive, a soil conditioner, which helps ensure that your soil has life in it, earthworms, better drainage, better mycorrhizae growth.
And this is from Fertilome. What's it called, the product?
Humus.
Humus. Okay, humus. Yeah, humus.
HUMMUS. And they sell it in a granular form. They sell it in liquid form. It's not hummus, so don't go to the grocery store and think, out of that little section where they have the little tubs of it.
No,
you can just go and dump chickpeas into the ground.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, no, this is a soil conditioner and not a fertilizer. Again, too, we're taking care of the soil. We're not fertilizing the plant. We're taking care of the soil so that way the soil can then take care of the plants naturally.
Do we know anything about this newsletter controversy? Why people aren't getting their newsletter? That's been a bone of contention here, back and forth. A lot of people didn't get the newsletter. So Daniel said
that might have been my mistake.
Daniel said check your spam. So again, Tiger did the newsletter this week.
Exactly.
And Daniel said it was dated May 19th.
What do you mean?
Something about the date on it. But all that to say, this is something John does. This is not an easy job. So we'll give props to Tiger for at least getting it out. That may be why you didn't get it. I don't know.
It's probably my mistake.
Probably Tiger's. Okay, whatever. But
I love how Brian's trying not to blame me.
No, but if you
it's
do
probably
know,
totally my fault.
If you do know somebody who got the newsletter, have them send it to you.
And we posted on our Facebook.
And it's on our Facebook
It's
page,
on our
too.
Facebook right now.
So you can go there and you can pick it up, not pick it up literally, but you can pick up the information from our Facebook page. We've got to take a break.
All right.
And when we come back, it'll be more garden talk here on Garden America. Those on Biz Talk Radio as well, thank you for joining us. Okay, we have returned from the break, obviously. Those on Facebook Live probably saw me trying to call John.
Right.
It's not going through, so I sent John a text to call us in studio.
There
he is.
Look at that.
How about that? How live radio? I'll pick up the phone.
All right, I got it. Yeah, so as we mentioned, John's out on assignment. He's all his roses out there for him, and we're excited to hear about his trip and see how things are going. Is he on?
Okay, let's see if we can bring John on. Let's see. Hello, John. Are you coming to us loud and clear from Belgium?
No, I'm coming to you from Dortmund, Germany.
Oh, that's
my
right.
goodness.
You were in Belgium and you went to Germany.
Well, we left Belgium this morning, drove through the Netherlands, and arrived about 2 hours ago in Dortmund. And we're now in the Dortmund Rosarium.
Wow.
This trip's almost overwhelming, I'll tell you. I wish you guys were here.
Oh, no, you don't. You're enjoying yourself. I'm seeing the pictures. You're having a blast. Is that the pictures that you just sent us? Is that what it? Or is it currently daytime and beautiful and sunny?
It's about 6 o'clock, 82 degrees, and it is sunny. Yeah.
Oh man, it looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we've got about 65 degrees, cloudy, and a little bit of rain this morning. So nothing has changed weather-wise here.
Yeah.
Please keep it that way until I get home.
You're so worried about your roses, huh?
I'm worried about watering my roses.
No, you don't, John. You don't have to worry, right, Tiger?
Yeah, I talked to Susan, and she's saying everything is working perfect, and there was just a few little roses that she had to water, but she's actually going to bake me cookies because she's so appreciative of the system we installed for you to keep your roses.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a win-win.
Yeah, the system's working for you, John. Everything looks good. Everything's been watered, so one less thing to worry about.
You won't believe the conference we were at, the World Federation of Roses, had people there from 25 different countries.
Wow.
And it was just amazing to see all those people. I mean, even Uruguay, Finland, Norway, Sweden, Australia, New Zealand, U.S., Japan, China. Belgium, France. It was amazing.
Now I know you've ran in this crowd for some time. Is there anyone that you have been talking to over the months, over the years, and this was the first time you met them in person?
It was the first time, and I've been wanting to meet because they're up in age now. They're in their 80s, but Viru and Garija Viraha Hagavan are the most famous breeders of roses in India. And they've worked with Rosa gigantea, which is a completely different species than what all our modern roses are bred with. So their work is unmatched anywhere in the world, and I'll tell you, they're just the nicest people that you'd ever want to meet. But yeah, that's somebody I was looking forward to meeting. And then I had a rose at home called Yuki's Dream. That was a found rose in China, and I just put it in my garden a few months ago, and it's fantastic. And someone introduced me to a group of Japanese people, and this one, she's a doctor, said, "My name is Yuki," and I go, "Yuki's Dream." I said, "You're in my garden."
That's so funny.
So
that's so awesome.
I also found a rose with an unusual name. You know how I like weird names on roses?
Yeah, sure.
This one was called Jim the Viking. It's
Jim.
not as terrifying as Eric the Red, but it was Jim the Viking.
Oh, that's fun. So the garden that you're in, you're currently in the Dortmund Rosarium, right?
Right.
And
then
is this
from here
is this spring
spend 2
full
days
bloom
here,
there?
then we go to Castle and then on to Sangerhausen.
Is this spring full bloom right now for them, or is it
Perfect.
late? Is
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Sangerhausen this week is having a festival, which they're timing for the full bloom of the roses. So you really couldn't pick a better time to come.
Oh, that's so neat. That is so neat. In the garden that you're at right now, how many roses are in this one?
I think this one has about 3,000 to 4,000.
Oh my goodness!
So not quite as big as your garden, then, right, John?
No, a little bit bigger. They certainly have more room for roses.
Yeah.
But this one is more of this is a public garden, and it's a display garden, not like Zangerhausen, which is just supposedly a catalog of roses with people trying to save varieties. Even though there is sense to this, it's grouped with other plants in a park setting and a lot of mixed borders. And
I was going to say, it looks like you're in a
really
park.
Spectacular.
Yeah, the pictures are beautiful. Looks like you're in a park.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were just a few that I just snapped. I mean, I could go on and on taking pictures here.
That's fun.
Really
you know what? You're so far away, but we're so well connected. What a world we live in, right? Instant pictures. We can pick up the phone and talk to you, and you're halfway around the world.
Well, the lectures that I sat in on were from people all over the world, but the official language of the World Federation of Roses is English.
Oh,
well, that helps.
So, yeah, all the seminars had to be in English, or what people thought was English. Some of them I just don't know, but they were topics you would never think of. Like, would you ever think you'd be sitting and listening to a program on the roses of Bhutan?
It's funny that you say it, because I was just going to ask you, did you learn anything new? I know that's kind of a loaded question, but was there anything that stood out in your mind? You were sitting through one of the seminars or attending one of the events, you're like, interesting.
Yeah,
I never thought of that.
There wasn't a single day where I didn't learn something new. But what surprised me was the interest in preservation that's going on around the world. You guys have both been involved in our annual auction to try to preserve roses in danger of extinction. But you really don't think, hey, there's people all around the world doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe not with an auction, but with societies and gardens and trying to do that. Yeah. And connecting with those people. And as a matter of fact, one thing that surprised me was New Zealand and Australia are now shut down for roses. So they're concerned with preserving all the varieties they have, because what they have is all they'll ever get.
Yeah.
Unless something changes in the future. But right now, you cannot bring a rose into any of those countries.
All right.
Can you hold on?
Yeah, John, can you hold on for a little bit? We're going to take a break and be right back.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
very good. So John is going to be waiting for us. We're going to take a quick break on Facebook Live, a bit longer on Biz Talk Radio, but do stay with us. Hey, if you got any questions for John, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, got a question for John, he's in Germany right now speaking to us live, then by all means, post your question. We are going to take a break. Back after these messages for our good friends on Biz Talk Radio. We are right back. How about that? Yes, indeed. The miracle of radio, the miracle of transmission, the miracle of streaming, and every other way you pick up this show. This is Garden America. Happy weekend to you. Brian Main, Tiger Palafox, our good buddy John Bagnesco is not in studio, but he is talking to us over the phone from Germany. Tiger, we are back. And again, those on Facebook, any questions for John, go ahead and post them on our Facebook page.
John now knows what it likes.
What it's like to be a guest?
It feels like to be a guest on the show.
Yeah, you know what? I like the feeling a lot better. Not that I don't like sitting in studio with
Right.
you guys,
You
but
can be anywhere
I know
in the
I'm
world.
going to have fun as soon as I hang up.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
nobody's watching you. You're on the phone. It's casual. We
Yeah.
get it. We get it.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, John. So before the break, you were just telling me you learned that Australia and New Zealand is now closed to importing new roses. So
Right.
is this going to be basically like the Cuba of roses here pretty soon? You're going to be going to Australia and they're just going to have a bunch
Yeah.
of old school roses all around. I mean, what was their logic in shutting down the borders to new roses?
I'm the wrong one to ask because I don't understand the logic in a lot of it, and I think some of it is just political, not logical, and so that's kind of hard to deal with. Acting as an ambassador, I've got us some new listeners that said as soon as they get home next week, they're going to listen to next week's show.
Oh, how
Very
So,
nice. Well, thank you, John. That's the real reason why you're over there. I get it. Yeah, you're recruiting new listeners.
Well, these people were from Indiana and Minnesota.
Oh.
Another one from Washington.
Look at that, locals.
So, yeah.
That's fun.
That is fun. So, John, anything else you want our listeners or viewers to know about? Now, when you'll be coming back, you leave tomorrow to come back to the States?
No, I just got to Germany, so
Wow.
I'm not leaving until next Sunday or next Monday.
So
Yeah.
this is a
So,
2-week trip, right? 2 weeks at least?
You didn't get the memo, Brian?
Yeah, it's a 2-week trip, and
No, I didn't.
and I'll miss you guys next week too.
Yeah.
But I know you'll have another good show. And Tiger, I'm so proud of the job you did on the newsletter.
Yeah, I guess I made a couple little mistakes, but hey, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
It's quite an
So much
undertaking.
better than the first one.
Exactly. Oh. Well, John, thank you very much for joining us and calling in.
Yeah.
We look forward
Yeah,
to
miss
tracking.
you guys.
Send me more pictures throughout the trip,
Yeah,
okay?
we can post them.
That's our reminder to you. So I know you're not good about taking pictures, but send us some so we can post them, okay?
All right, and Tiger, I think I might have you hooked up for the next conference.
Oh,
They want you to attend in Japan
I'm done. I'm
in
there.
2025. So we'll have to talk about that when I get back.
Sounds great.
I may even want to go and tag along. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might also.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There you go, folks. There's our trip. You want to go with us in 2025? Let us know. We're going to
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, John.
All
Thank
right,
you.
have a great day, guys.
Bye.
Okay, take care. All right. John Bagnesco from Germany.
Yeah, how fun.
It wasn't that long ago we couldn't do something like this. This is, just the way technology and communication is set up these days. It makes it so simple. And like you said, he could be halfway around the world, but it sounds like he's right next door.
Yeah, I mean, so neat to be able to kind of what a neat thing to be a part of, where all these people from all these countries, all these walks of life coming together with one common interest, and then being able to learn from them on things that you never even considered
Right.
in your own home.
And because everyone's coming, approaching it with a different point of view.
Yes.
And that's it, It's the
Yes.
same thing, but looking through it with different eyes.
Exactly. And, for John, I know that this is his passion, this is his
Oh, yeah.
dream. So it's even, probably more amazing to him. But I'm still in shock and awe
Right.
that they have these events and that they get all these people from all around the world together. What a great way to just pass knowledge and share and
share that common interest from people worldwide.
Yeah. So I don't know. Cool. Kudos to John. I'm glad he's having a good time. I'm glad things are going well. I'm glad he's there during, it seems like, the
perfect time of the year, right? Weather-wise.
Yeah.
82 degrees, sunshine.
Yep.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to a lot of us who have been, under the realm of cloudy weather and rain for the past 6 months.
Exactly. I know, right? I mean, it's so funny. We always hear about the other places getting bad weather, and now San Diego. I mean, we don't even have bad weather. It's just not ideal.
But I think people are like, oh, Japan? Maybe I want to go to Japan in 2025.
Yeah.
It's 2 years to plan for it, basically. So
I would love to go, because the one thing I will say about Japanese plants and gardening, they're very meticulous.
Oh yeah, everything has a place and a purpose and a reason.
Exactly. And because I went to Europe already, I mean in England,
right,
where it's very, they call it like cottage, like it's very natural, very go with the flow.
Right, let it go, let it grow.
Throw things out and see where it kind of comes up. And I think that's going to be kind of neat to see the difference there.
Or just go to a Japanese garden. That proves your point.
Yeah.
Right there. Sounds like a great time. Speaking of weather and plants and trees and shrubs that aren't, blossoming, blooming like they would this time of the year, how does that affect your nursery? What's going on in the nursery that's quite different from previous years?
So number one, because we're in Southern California, I think most people just have to have this sense of want or desire to get out there. And with cloudy days,
despite the weather, maybe,
well, with cloudy days, it's difficult for us. We're not as motivated. When it's a sunny weekend and you're out there working in the garden, I think that you're motivated to plant more, to do more, to be more involved. And when it's cloudy and drizzly, I think people will just lack that desire right now.
Well,
it's slower. It's slower in the nursery. It's slower in the garden center. But, the other thing too is just everything just seems like a little bit more bland, without the sun. So when you walk into the garden center, the flowers don't pop as much. There's not as much in bloom as there normally would.
It's a whole mood.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I remember a couple of 2 or 3 times past month or so, I've come home and like I mentioned before, it was sunny. It's like, oh, the clouds broke up. It's a bit sunny. I go outside. I do a little gardening. I clean, sweep. But you're right. When it's cloudy, you don't want to do it. It's just you're not motivated enough. So people are really jonesing to get back out there.
Yeah, I think so. So, it'll happen for us, and you can still do it. I mean, you kind of have to do it. We've already missed.
Right.
We talked about this either last week or the week before. You've already missed the boat on planting your tomatoes for Southern California. You're missing the boat in terms of squash or pumpkins or anything like that. Peppers, should have already been planted and growing and all of that. So we are. You have to still line yourself up with the calendar as a gardener, even if the weather isn't perfect.
Right.
Because if you wait until it gets sunny and you put in a plant, it's too late. It doesn't have enough time to fruit. It doesn't have enough time to grow, to develop. So, you still have to be ahead of the game in terms of the seasons, and you still have to align yourself with the calendar, even if the weather isn't perfect.
Right. Now, things may not be growing or thriving as they normally would be, but your point being that doesn't matter if you're planting something new or you want something to get established, you still have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say, though, the cool thing about it for us as landscapers is that we're getting an extended season for planting. Usually by this time we'd be, we don't want to plant anymore because it's getting too hot, getting too dry. It's tough. But we're planting stuff, and it's very successful. We're doing very well with planting things now because we have these mild temperatures. So there's still a lot of trees, shrubs, roses, grasses, put them in. We still have some time.
Right.
Yeah, so that's good.
And even Lenore says that she prefers to work in the garden sometimes when it's not so hot. And
Are you kidding me? I love that.
Yeah,
I love this.
There's a lot to be said about that as well.
A real, I don't want to say a real gardener, a person that has experience with gardening appreciates this weather, appreciates this mildness.
Sure, and while it lasts.
Yes.
Because I guarantee in a month, during the show, people are going to say, oh, it's 105, it's 92.
Exactly.
Trying to get some reprieve from the heat. It's coming. So just enjoy this while you can. My tomatoes are doing well. The sugary tomato,
Yeah.
that you gave me, doing very well. They're very small. They're very small. They're very sweet, very
But
small.
very sweet.
Yeah, and they're much smaller than a cherry tomato.
Yeah.
They're just little guys.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the name. I think they call it like a grape. I think they call it a grape
Yeah,
tomato.
Would be more in line with a grape.
Is it that size, or is it even smaller?
Smaller than a grape.
It's smaller than a grape.
I'll take a picture so
Wow.
you can see.
Okay.
The few that I've had, and they're bright red. I know they're ready.
Yeah.
Because my tendency was, you need to get a little bigger. But that's as big as they get. They're small.
I'm surprised with all your wildlife activity, birds and stuff in your patio, that they don't pick off your tomatoes more than
they do, but not as much as you
but
think.
not as much as I'm imagining, because I just see wildlife in the sense of if there's an opportunity, they're going to take it.
Exactly.
And you do have birds and stuff going into your backyard all the time.
Well, they're going after the seeds my wife puts out.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's
Maybe
it. They're diverted.
Exactly, which is a good thing. Don't let that bird feeder go empty.
Right. We got to take a break. We have one more segment coming up for Facebook Live and Biz Talk Radio. Do stay with us. I'm Brian Main, Tiger Palafox. Thank you for tuning in to Garden America. All right, just like that, we are back from the break. I want to thank those on Biz Talk Radio. I want to thank Stephanie and Ryan, who put the show together for us each week. You are a week behind us. This is last week's show, but again, you still get the great content here on Garden America. You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can go to our website, gardenamerica.com. Check it out. It's just a website with a lot going on all the time. It changes. We've got articles. We've got links to various shows. So check it out, gardenamerica.com. And, of course, our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show.
And, I like to think of it as a community, right? Because
Yeah.
in gardening, that's what we are. And right now, John's in Germany. You and I are here in San Diego. We just talked to Taunya up in Oregon on the border of Idaho. And
It's a big community.
We're all bringing what we know to this community to hopefully help people be successful in whatever they're doing when it comes to gardening. And that's what you need as a gardener, because, nothing's ever the same. Nothing's ever perfect. Think about this season right now, Brian, and we're talking about the weather. If there weren't places that didn't have this common overcast, humidity, temperatures, we wouldn't know what to do. But because we have friends all around the world, they can say, oh, well, for us, we just have to make sure that, use this fertilizer, water this way, expect things to be a little bit late. And we've learned, and it's really neat to be a part of this community, and that's what our website's about, is developing the community, sharing information.
Exactly.
So,
and again, it's not a website where you log on, it's the same all the time. It changes. It's kept up. We have, like I say, whatever we're talking about, maybe that week in the show, we post that, upcoming events, things like that. So it's a great website. Daniel's done a great job, and it keeps everybody up to date in this worldwide community that you talk about.
Yeah. So, log on to gardenamerica.com and, interact.
Go from there.
And then, Daniel, with the newsletter, we're doing a great job of making sure the information gets to you.
It is on our Facebook page.
We try to share it as much as possible.
Right. If you didn't get the newsletter, it is on our page.
Yes.
It's another one of those things you can't get away from, like our show. We're everywhere. So the newsletter is everywhere as well. And we want to thank Taunya for being our special guest and a new sponsor of Garden America with Root Warrior. A lot of interest this morning, so do check out her website. And, if you purchase a set of these cones, let us know in the next couple of 2 or 3 months how it worked out for you. We're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And because you're going to take some of these home and you're going to use them in your own pot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you got to make sure you take some photos and share them.
Do it right.
I want to see
Do it
exactly.
right.
Do it right and see the results.
I'm going to actually watch a video, though, before I do it. I mean, there's nothing better than actually seeing it,
Right? Those tutorial videos on how to do things and, just make it so clear.
Yeah.
Take away some of the guesswork that you had before.
Well, sometimes somebody's explaining something to you, and you're like, okay, I get it, but I need to attach those thoughts that you just told me. And that's what a video does.
Exactly your situation. So then but watching a video, you'd be like, I can change that and that'll work better.
And you said that was plantwarrior.com.
Plantwarrior.com.
But the link is on our Facebook page in the comments section to make it easier.
Yeah, Exactly.
So, and good for her. People that are, innovative like that come up with, usually there's a problem. Somebody comes up with a solution, and from that solution, they invent something.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes to go here.
And I do want to have a reminder for people that since we are getting into June, now is the best time of year to make sure you're using a organic fertilizer on your garden. You're probably, when it comes to your herbs and vegetables, getting a little bit depleted unless you've been actively applying fertilizers. So this is your reminder to make sure to get out there and fertilize. Use an organic fertilizer so that way you make sure you're feeding the soil and not just the plant. Also, because you use an organic fertilizer and because we're in the getting to be in the hotter months, there's zero risk of burning your plants. When you when you use a chemical fertilizer during the hot months, if you don't apply it properly by either applying too much or by not watering it in when you apply it, you can burn and kill your plants. But using an organic fertilizer, it eliminates that risk. And so you water it in, you put it down, but you won't burn your plants because it's more mild. And so, we obviously recommend the Fertilome products.
Fertilome's got a great line of products.
A great line of fertilizers as well. And then a reminder to people that now is the time of year, get ahead of the bug problems. I was up at John's house and his snail problems just through the roof.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
So decolate snails are good, but then at the same time, if you don't have access to, or not everybody can use decolate snails, the Fertilome slug and snail killer is great. Safe to use around your kids, safe to use around cats and dogs, and it's very effective. So good solutions for that as well.
Joyce has already ordered her Root Warrior.
All right, Joyce.
How about that, Joyce? Way to go.
Yeah, please
Way to
share
go.
when
Yeah,
you
do
get
share
it,
that.
and then I want to know what she's going to use it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can also, again, you mentioned earlier, people take pictures of their gardens, what's happening, and they send them to John. They appear in the newsletter. Yeah, something like that, maybe the same thing. You take a picture of what you've done with Root Warrior and send it to us.
Yeah.
Again, that active community that you're talking about, as we share ideas and, we share problems, we share solutions, and sometimes we laugh together and cry a little together.
Share our mistakes.
Share our mistakes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And Veronica says the flies and spiders are crazy this year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We were talking about that last week with Bill Stingle and the mosquitoes and flies and, all of that. So, yeah, that's a problem.
We got to run quickly here. But Kevin wants to know, how do you feel about oyster shells?
Oyster shells?
Yeah.
Well, oyster shells in general, just
using them in the garden, how incorporating them.
Yeah, oyster shells are basically diatomaceous earth crushed up.
Right.
So they're very safe and easy to use. They do add things like calcium and other microminerals into the soil if you're just using crushed up oyster shells. They can act as a deterrent for pests as well.
Okay.
So I don't have a problem with oyster shells at all. And so, no,
okay.
You can't go wrong.
There you go, Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much. Those tuned in this morning, great audience. We thank those on Biz Talk Radio who support our show, who listen every week. And, of course, those of you on Facebook who interact. We do appreciate it. So for the entire crew, the entire cast and crew, first of all, I want to thank Taunya, our guest this morning, and Root Warrior, new sponsor, those of you that are going to purchase Root Warrior. For John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox, myself, Brian Main, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a safe week. We'll do it again next week. John is back in 2 weeks, not next week, but 2 weeks. But Tiger and I are back next week here on Garden America. My mouth isn't working. I'm running out of things to say. So we're going to bid you adieu. Adios. Goodbye. Take care. Have a great week. Take care.